Welcome back, guys, to the RS660 project. If you missed the other episodes, they're all linked at the bottom. Let's get this sorted so we can get it to Seville so we can have some fun in the sun. Right, so we're on day 4 now. Done a couple of extra little bits. I've drilled the oil filler cap, put a cable tie through it. I'm not baling wire that because if I want to check my oil or top it up, that is the dipstick. There's no sight glass on the side. I don't want to keep cutting a baling wire and redoing the baling wire. Cable tie sufficient. Since we had this exhaust fitted, original exhaust had this plate sitting on the sides, and now it looks kind of bare there, which I don't like. I've made this plate, which I'm going to put in here. I'll show you what it looks like when I put it in. And once the exhaust was in, you can see at the bottom here it was bolted to here, so now this is quite flimsy. I've made this little brace plate to go from one side to the other and painted it black, so that'll go in. I changed this foot peg to a red one because we had it to match. but I haven't changed it on the other side. Reason being is I hardly use the back brake when I'm on track, and if you look at the lever that I took off, although they're the same length end to end, this one has a lot more rubber on it because of that tip, and I tend to be on the toes when I'm doing my gear changes, so I've left the other one as a black one, just because it's longer. I've taken this cover off because we still have to fill the cooling system. I'm going to put this Mocool stuff in there. This takes about 2 litres of fluid, so I'm going to put 100 ml in there, which is 5%. But I'm going to pour 100 ml of this in first. I don't want to dilute it with the antifreeze that came out, because we're going to end up with too much coolant. So once that's diluted, as we pour it back in, we're going to end up with some of the Mocool will end up in there. So I want the 100 ml of that in there, and then we'll just top it up with the coolant that came out. I still have the tank to go on. I still don't know what this sounds like. If it sounds crazy, although we put a baffle in it at the beginning of the exhaust system, I don't know if you can see down there. I don't know if it's going to be sufficient enough. If it's too noisy, especially for UK circuits, it won't pass noise test. UK is very, very strict on noise testing. When you go to Europe, don't have much of an issue. But when you go all the way to the track, if it's too noisy, you're kind of stumped, because you paid for the track time and you're not going to get that back. So if it's too noisy, then I'll have to buy another baffle to go in there, and we may have to probably drill one of the rivets out and use that as our locking bolt hole. I'm chuffed with that plate, to be fair. I think it looks pretty good. Next thing to do now is just put these brackets on that I made, see what they look like, and then we can start adding the coolant in there, and then we'll go to the top and start finishing the top off, get the throttle bodies on, ECU back in, airbox, and then get the tank on. Okay, so I've put the little plate in just to cover some of that exhaust there, and I've put the brace bar in, and that's made that rigid now. Well, tell me what you think. If you like it, give me the thumbs up. If you don't, leave a message at the bottom. That's what we don't like about it. Right, whilst I let the coolant settle, hopefully all the air bubbles will come up, and we'll just top the rest up. Going to start putting the throttle bodies and that back together. Now that we've taken off the charcoal canister, we need to eliminate these 2 hoses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these clips off, and then we'll block these off. Okay, so I've managed to find 2 caps in my drawer, so that's done. Let's take these caps off. So these are the clips that need to go back on, because there's no room for your hand down there. I had to modify these pair of pliers, heating them up, bent them so they work sideways. And then I cut the tips off, and then I made these points on here so that we can lock these clips back on. There's no other way of doing it. Special tool. Oh, I need another pair of pliers just to squeeze that. Just a squeeze here, please. How close it is.
Then?
Man, that was hard work. Those 2 clips, but there's no way you're going to get a tool down there to do the job other than like this at an angle. This one here was so close, I just couldn't get it in. My son had to get a screwdriver just to pop it over. That one I just about managed to get in, but you can see how difficult they can be. Okay, tank's about to go on. When we had our charcoal canister, we had one of those hoses going down here. Yeah, I can't see, so I'm feeling it. When I took the link pipes off the throttle bodies, I chopped the wires down, linked them together, and then this one breather will go onto 2 there. So all we've done is created those 2 as one, because all it is if you overfill at the top, you get a leak off, and if it rains on top, you get a leak off. So we're just leaking off out the same hose. Okay, bike is mostly back together, ready to fire it up. There's oil in there, oil filter's done. Tensioner might be a little bit noisy as we start it, but hopefully that'll quieten down very quickly. Just dying to hear this exhaust. Right, fuel's primed, and let's start. Why won't it start? Oh, because we're in 6th gear, because I put it in gear so we could turn the engine over. Right. Okay, right, we're in neutral now, not 6th. Okay, well, in my opinion, that sounds pretty good. Not quite finished with the job yet, and there's a few more things to put back on, but this was mapped last year or the year before. But now that I've done a little bit of work to it, I've had a bespoke map made specifically for this bike. So that's the last thing to put on. We'll put a map on and see how that works, and we'll go from there. Right, day 5. Last night started the bike, started fine, turned it off, ended the camera, went to start it again, wouldn't start. Turn over and turn over and turn over. It was trying, but it wouldn't start. And then we had an alarm fault on the dashboard saying alarm service. I've got my diagnostic on there now, having a quick look to see what's causing the problem, and we've got a drive-by-wire self-learning issue. I can't clear the fault code, and if I go into the settings and try and do the throttle self-learn, it keeps kicking me out. So I've got a feeling something's not plugged in properly, or I have had it before. Not on a bike, but on a car, where I've plugged the ECU back in. One of the pins bent where it hasn't gone on properly. So tank off, have a look at the ECU plugs. If the ECU plugs are fine, then we're going to have to go to the throttle body, which means airbox off again. And then hopefully we'll find the problem, because I need to get this fixed ASAP, because this bike's being loaded in a couple of weeks. So let's get this tank off and see what we can see. Okay, tank's been off. I've had the ECU plugs out, nothing is bent in there, and around the other side I was just about to get my hand in there, well, a screwdriver in there, and undid the plug for the throttle body. I've come back to the laptop, no faults. The fault was still in there. I had to go into settings, reset the throttle body, and then the fault cleared itself. So I should be able to start it, and hopefully the throttle will work better than it did last night. Yeah, it still doesn't sound good. See if anything's come back on the computer. Yeah, no faults. So not sure where the throttle's playing up now. Let's just go. Oh, there's nothing else to reset there, so we've done that. Well, let's see if we'll idle again. Yeah, this is what I did last night. So, not sure why we're having issues, because everything's plugged in. I've just double checked it. Right, better check everything else and just double check it, because unplugging those bits and plugging them back in seem to have got rid of the fault code. So maybe I should go around, unplug every plug that I've unplugged, all the O2 sensors, plug them all back in and see if it makes a difference. Well, I've unplugged and replugged everything, and now it seems to be working. So everything is off, and actually we're getting some flame. Right, map is going on. So we're on day 6. So been here on this for a while. I didn't get a chance to work on it yesterday because it was a busy working day. So we're back again Saturday again. So we've been working on this from Saturday to Saturday. No video is ever done in one day. It takes time. So remap's going on. I had a good old chat with the mapping guy who did this map for me. Got a lot of insight on how the original map works on this. Even though I'd had it mapped before, he's vastly improved that map. Apparently when he was looking at the mapping code, when you're in the mid-range of your throttle on this, if you pin it to full throttle, the throttle butterflies don't open above 68%. So they're always about that sort of angle instead of fully vertical. He said, and as you get further up the rev range, it starts to open, but even at 100% throttle and your higher rev range, it only opens between 75 and 80%. You never get maximum 100% full throttle open. So he's redone the map. He's put that all up to 100%. So even mid-range, when you're trying to come out of a bend, trying to open up to get through the rev range, the throttle butterfly will open to 100%. He said the reason it's set to those figures is for economy and fuel consumption. So when you pin it halfway through a rev range, the reason we have electronic throttle bodies is, especially on the cars, is when you plant your foot down to do an overtake, it'll never go to full throttle. What it does is it stages it, so it doesn't dump fuel into the cylinders, and you get black smoke coming out the back, which you see in the old days. It's to prevent that, because when you dump fuel in and you get black smoke coming out, these are hydrocarbons, these are unburnt fuel, so the fuel isn't doing much for you. But now we've got the engine breathing properly, got rid of all the emissions control because it's a track bike. We've got a high flow air filter. Now we've got a high flow exhaust system on there. So we want things to work more efficiently and a bit more ferociously. So we've given you two maps. The map we're putting on now is 100% throttle, and the other map we've got is slightly different, but we're going to try this one first and see how we get on. So we're halfway through uploading it. Whilst it's doing that, we've got a few more other things to do. We've got the clip-on bar ends to go on the lever protectors, and we've got the mirror caps to go on as well. So we're going to put those on while it's doing that. So these are the caps that I'm fitting. To buy one set was £8 shipping. To buy two sets was free shipping. So I ended up buying two sets. To be fair, these were less than £8 each. So it worked out better. So I've got Aprilia and RS660. So my plan is to put Aprilia one side, RS660 on the other. So it's describing what my bike is. So, Steve's in because it's Saturday. He's got nothing better to do than to bother me, help me out. So there you go, Steve. One for you, one for me. That says right, isn't it?
We'll find out when we get it off.
Left. Is it better that way or that way?
We can test it.
Right, so now I've got the bar ends to sort out. I want these lever guards on there. I was going to machine these down right to the end. It's the other side. What I did is I machined the centre out so that we can have this sitting on the inside. So that's what I'm going to do to this one. This is for the other side. And then at least I'm keeping some of the weight still in there. And it kind of stops this lever from swiveling on the end when this is tight. Okay, got my mapping tool on again. The two maps we had, I couldn't get the bike to run right. It would start an idle. As soon as you tried to apply the throttle to it, it would just die. You could gingerly, about eighth of a throttle, get it to about 3,500 RPM, and then it would cut out. So I've got my mapping guy. He's done another mod. Apparently it was a checksum issue. Hopefully he's resolved it. We're just getting this on. Hopefully the bike will run right, and then we'll go from there. Because we're going to Spain, and I did have a previous map on there. I'm probably going to take this with me, the laptop and the kit. If I get any issues on track, at least I can still upload a map, the old map onto it. It's too far to go to get it all wrong, so I want to make sure I can ride the bike when I'm out there. So I'll take it. Even when I'm out there, we can still, I can still communicate with the guys and constantly redevelop the map. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get that sorted. Okay. whilst I've been doing the bike, another week's gone by now, so this is the third Saturday this has been on the ramp. I ordered some more bobbins. The ones I ordered last year, they were listed for an RS660. I think they were for an RSV4 because they came with 8mm bolts. These are 6mm bolts, and the ones I've got on there, as you can see, they're not great. And I always get that worry that when I put it on the stand, it may come off. It hasn't happened yet, and hopefully it won't. But I've got some newer ones, again red and black, so they'll go on there. It just seems more of a positive fit. So I'll get those on whilst this map's doing its thing, and just trying to think what else we've got left to do. Still got the tank to put on properly. So the seat's got to go back on a battery cover, but we'll wait till this map's done and the bike runs okay. Lever guards are on. Honestly, I don't like them. I don't like them at all. So I'm trying to keep these weights on. The reason I want these weights on, I'm quite keen to keep them there, is because it's a twin, you get a lot of vibration for the handlebars, and it just takes that the vibration and the damping out your hands. Hence why I've kept them, because they're really heavy. They were made that way out the factory for a reason. Now the original ends came with 6mm bolts. When I added this into it, they weren't long enough to go into it, and to be fair, the 5mm bolts weren't substantial enough to really stick it to hold everything on. And if I tightened it to keep this in place, there's a good chance I could have broke it. So I've had to drill, retap, make the bar ends into 6mm so I can screw these in, so I have more of a substantial bolt in there. So the spare bars that I've got are also 5mm, so I'm going to have to machine those down to 6mm. So if I do need to use these on track at any point, I've got them already drilled and tapped to the right size. I've still got this little cage to go on for the battery here. It says alarm on there. It's because we're doing the map. It doesn't like being interfered with, so all these faults come up. I've got my little wristband on there, but I can't remember if that's for that or for that one. I think it's for this one. So yeah, so we've got a little cage to go on there, and then my little wristband can stay on the front one there. So I think that's about all we've got left to do now. Still need to check the oil level. Since I've done the service, I haven't done that. And literally go around, make sure all the bolts are tight. I still need to warm it up to check the coolant level, because we still haven't done that, because we didn't have the map running long enough to get it warm enough. So I need to run it up, make sure the fan cuts in, so then we know the thermostat's been open, let it cool down, and we can top that back up. Okay, the map is on there. Let's see if it starts. Okay, the map's done. I've gone into it with my Texas tool, done diagnostics on it. I've reset the throttle body, no fault codes in the engine now. Instrument cluster, as you saw, it was flashing up with an arrow light where it was doing the remap. There was a fault in there, cleared it. ABS had a fault as well. All done. So those bits are done. Fan is cut in now, so you're going to check the coolant level, make sure that's okay. Still got one other thing to fit, the important one, the race box. It's quite a tiny little module, and I've just got to think of a place to put it. In the UK, you're not allowed to use devices like this to track your lap times, chase speed, chase times, chase your friends. In Europe it's okay, so I don't really want this being displayed somewhere, you know, in the UK where it's frowned upon. I was going to cut a hole out in the back of this and have it in the back. It just makes it awkward to take this off and try and unplug the wire. What I was going to do is have a little sight glass in there so that I can see the little LED when I know this is on, so it would have been behind the little glass, and then I had the sticker over it so you wouldn't know it was there. But I think trying to get the seat off, you know, when you do diagnostic work and bits and pieces, it's just going to be awkward unplugging that. Haven't ruled it out yet, but I'm just trying to think of other places I might be able to put this. I'll think about it. Let's see where I can put it. Okay, so I've made a plan for the race box. Got the instructions out, and the operating voltage for this is 3.5 to 16 volts, which is fantastic because I've got a wide range there, which means I can use the USB port or the battery. On my Aprilia here, I've got a USB port here. Now this is actually from Aprilia to take the dash out, and there's actually a plug in the back where this plugs into. It's also waterproof. The race box is not waterproof. It's only going to be used on track days. So I've decided to put this here. So I'm going to screw it into this air intake box, 2 tiny holes. That'll mount on without an issue. And I had a USB, spare USB cable. Just cut the end off and strip the wires. And there's only 2 wires in there. They're red and alive. So I'm going to plug this into my USB port here. Okay, so we've got the ends stripped. Got my multimeter out. Let's find the key. Right, just 2-hand job. Right, let's get my tripod. Okay, let's get the ignition on. Let's get my multimeter on here. And we got 5 volts. I don't know if you can see that there. So, fantastic power port. I'm just going to solder these ends up. I'm not sure whether I'm going to just chop this red and black out and just stick the end on there properly, and that's job done. And there we go, guys, fitted. I put heat shrink on the wires and I've taped it up so it's black. So kind of nondescript. 2 screws goes into the housing. For UK track days, like I said, they don't allow it, so 2 screws straight out, job done. It's plugged into the USB and it comes on with the ignition. So turn the ignition on, it works. There's several lights there for different things. There's a Bluetooth light so you can sync to your telephone. GPS, we're not going to pick up GPS in here because we've got 2 roofs over our heads. When it's recording, obviously the light comes on, and if the memory's full, I think the last one comes on. So there we go, job done. So and it comes on with the ignition, so you can easily unplug it. if I don't want to use it, job done. It has built-in memory, apparently. I've never used it. My friend Steve is going to show me how to set it up on my phone, and then we'll play around with it when we get to Spain. Okay, so that's another job out of the way. I'm happy with everything else, so we can start putting the bike back together, and then we can do the bobbins. And we're done. So all the bits are on now. Lever guards, mirror covers, new exhaust system, new foot pegs, new cage for the brake fluid, new bracket made, chain adjusters, new bobbins are on, plate that we made on. We've got the other side, cage on, the brace for the gear selector on. Three maps have gone on. Finally we got a map on there that works. The brace we made that went in there to keep the plastics together. The new coolant went on there. Oil's been changed. Valve clearances have been checked. Charcoal canister removed. A few other emissions control things have been removed. Steering damper on there. Some machine work on the bar ends, and I think we're done. We've done a lot to this bike from the time I got it. We've had covers on, suspension work done, previous map, front forks have been done. We've had race pads put in there. Yeah, so it's shark fins on. It's far from standard now. Rear sprocket's been changed, front sprocket's been changed. What else? Rear sets. If you missed all these videos, they're all going to be linked at the bottom. So last thing to do now is weigh the bike. I've taken so much bits off. It's on my brake tester, which is a scale, and full tank of fuel in there, and it's bouncing around 185 with a full tank of fuel and the fluids. It's bouncing around because the fuel's sloshing around still in the tank. This job has taken 3 weekends. Now, the reason I was mentioning the amount of days that I've been on it, this goes out to all YouTubers. You know, we spend a lot of time making these videos. I've spent about 20 hours on this. But that will include editing the video. This video edits about 3 hours. So I'd appreciate a like, a subscribe, hit the bell notifications to be notified next time we upload a video. But we put a lot of effort into these videos, and people don't, you know, you guys at that end of the monitor and the phones and the tablets don't realise how much work we put into this. This is 16, 17 hours. You know, the stuff where you're just doing this bar end, you know, I have to machine them so they stayed looking as they do. And we have to, then I tapped it and drilled it and did, you know, other bits. It all takes time, you know, clearing up the mess. You know, when you take the radiator off, you get coolant spills. We hit snags. They're not all in the videos, but it takes a lot of time to do these videos. And you know, I just hope you guys appreciate how much time all YouTubers spend getting all that entertainment out to you guys. Anyway, guys, as always, we'll see you on the next one. Here's a final montage for you of the bike. Take care, guys.